I'm Marc Norman, Associate Dean at Schack, and incredibly happy to be here at this amazing conference. And I want to start by just saying that most of my mentors have been women, women in real estate. From my first job out of grad school at a small development firm to my current one. And a common thread, I was trying to think, like, what are sort of the elements that I've learned from these amazing women in real estate. First, read the room. Second, triple check everything and come armed with more information that you need. And I saw that in evidence today. I saw that in the speed networking, which I want to give a special shout out to Darcy Stakem for recommending that 2 years ago. And now it's become an integral part of our conference, and the buzz in that room was amazing. So I just want to give a special thank you to Darcy, and I also want to give a special thank you to Stephanie Wright, our faculty member who has worked tirelessly to help put this together with the chairs, and Maria Caligeru, who is working behind the scenes to make pretty much everything you see happen come together and bring all of these different elements that it takes to have a conference of this size work. In terms of my current mentors and bosses, Angie Kameth, who's the Dean of the School of Professional Studies, and our new president, the first woman to ever run NYU. That, for me is like what took so long. But Linda Mills has been amazing as well. So the mentors keep coming. And I hope that out of the speed networking and the speakers today and the reception afterwards, that you really come away with a LinkedIn, an Instagram, a card, a new mentor, a new intern, a new employee, or a new friend. So I also want to do a special thank you to all of our sponsors. I think this is really a record year for us. RXR, Affinius Capital, PGIM, Wilkie Farr and Gallagher, Trimont, Brookfield, CBRE, Allen Matkins, Leck, Gamble, Mallory, Greenberg Torrig, Rebney, MetLife, Fried Frank, Ackman Ziff, King and Spalding. Amazing, this kind of support that goes to support women in real estate. So without further ado, I want to bring up one of our amazing chairs. So our chairs, Darcy Stakem, Laurie Golub, Joanne Maneri. Laurie is going to kick us off. So thank you for coming today.
Thank you. Let's see if this works. Yes, good. Good morning, Marc and Stephanie, NYU Schack students, women executives in commercial real estate, Affinius Capital Women, my daughter Jada, and all of our invited guests today. I'm thrilled to be here today for the 6th National Symposium of Women in Real Estate to welcome all of you together with my co-chairs Joanne and Darcy for what we believe will be an exciting day. So my daughter Jada is here with us today because 2 weeks ago, we've been having an extremely busy summer, and 2 weeks ago I said to her, I still don't know what I'm going to speak about at the conference. And so this was actually her idea. And she decided that we should go to the movies. 2 weeks ago, she celebrated her 13th birthday, and she invited 8 kids over to celebrate with pizza, and we went to see the Barbie movie. I tagged along to the movie, not particularly interested in Barbie, earlier when it was released this summer, but more out of fascination that this movie, which was released to near universal critical acclaim, had grossed over $1 billion worldwide, making Greta Gerwig the first solo female director with a $1 billion movie. Amazing. So most of you probably already know the basic plot of the movie. Stereotypical Barbie, the most popular of all the Barbies in Barbieland, begins experiencing an existential crisis when her perfect life in Barbieland begins falling apart because the humans playing with her in the real world are sad. So her arched Barbie feet become flat, she gets cellulite on her thighs, and she becomes troubled by thoughts of death. Barbie must then travel to the human world in order to meet the family that is sad, solve their problems, And in doing so, she learns to understand herself and discover her true purpose. Her kind of sort of boyfriend, Ken, comes along for the ride because his own existence in Barbie land depends on Barbie acknowledging him each day. But both Barbie and Ken discover harsh truths in the real world along the road to enlightenment through this movie. Barbie transports herself into the real world only to learn that women-ruled Barbie land is a far cry from our patriarchal reality. There's a woman that gives a speech to Barbie where she says, "It's impossible to be a woman. We have to always be extraordinary, and even then, we self-doubt." When she is asked what she wants to do in the real world, Barbie says, "I'm not good enough for anything. I'm not sure where I belong. I don't have an ending, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do now." Barbie learns that the system is rigged and that she needs to be reprogrammed in order to re-enter Barbie land. But one of the film's messages is that no Barbie or Ken should live in the shadows. Not every night should be girls' night out, and not every boardroom should be filled with all men. In Barbie land, Gerwig paints a world where anything is possible for women, where girls can realize ambitions, dream big, and call the shots, not unlike the activity that has swirled around the Barbie doll for decades. "Why should she be sad?" Barbie asked the young girl in turmoil that she goes to see. "We fixed everything so that everything in the real world would be perfect." It's also a story of Barbie realizing that women don't always need to be perfect, that humans are limited, and that being a human can be very uncomfortable at times. It's meant to educate the Barbies who are experiencing patriarchy for the first time in their previously utopian Barbie land, run by all women, on why patriarchy is so harmful. She ends the film by realizing her purpose. "I want to be the one who does the imagining and has the ideas." The speech and the film at large is a solid, clear-cut patriarchy 101 for younger women or anyone beginning to engage in critical feminist thought. It is, in fact, a coming-of-age, feminist self-aware masterpiece. Barbie mourns the loss of innocence that comes with understanding the realities of living in a patriarchal society, but also celebrates relationships between women, particularly that of mother and daughter, which inspired the creation of the doll in the first place. The wide variety of reactions to Barbie has inspired, the wide variety of reactions, has inspired, reactions that has inspired proves the film's point that it's impossible to win as a woman in a man's world, but Barbie doesn't resign herself to pessimism and instead emphasizes the love and joy that permeates the memories involving Barbie dolls for so many. Her eternal optimism mirrors my own and inspires me. Most interesting to me was this was also a movie in which Mattel, the doll's manufacturer, and Warner Brothers, the film's distributor, at least acknowledged that extreme juxtapositions for women in Barbie land and women in the real world exist, and they create the appearance that they're in on the surprisingly pointed jokes at their expense. For everything in the real world in this movie exists to expand and elevate the presence of men. At Mattel headquarters, for example, the spacious top floor boardroom is populated solely by men. And Mattel's CEO insists his company's gender-neutral bathrooms up the wazoo are evidence of its diversity. It's a neat trick, but I have hope for corporate America when I see two enormous corporate giants not only acknowledging, but also mocking themselves and the lack of diversity and equality that still exists in the real world. The variety of reactions to this film itself, especially to its satirical exploration of the patriarchy, proves Barbie's point in real time. Conservative reactions have unsurprisingly slammed the film for its wokeness. Comedian Bill Maher hated the film and wrote a scathing critique that was covered in Rolling Stone magazine, which called it a total embarrassment, whereby Maher implied that the patriarchy highlighted in the movie is a thing of the past because 45% of the 449 seats on boards filled last year in Fortune 500 companies were women, adding, "I can see the world around me and I can read the data." Well, apparently, Marc can't read data. Not very well, anyway. He appears to have misread or deliberately misinterpreted a recent report commissioned by Deloitte and the Alliance for Board Diversity, which concluded that 46.5% of board seats in Fortune 100 companies were made up of women and minorities, and not just women. Of all Fortune 500 companies, the report concluded that only 22% of board seats were given to women and minorities, while 78% of board seats in the Fortune 500 were still held by white men. Women also only make up 12% of the world's billionaires, and according to a Pew Research analysis, the gender pay gap in the US has remained stable over the past 2 decades, with women earning only an average of 82.2% of what men earned. In Mars' own arena of late-night TV, there are a grand total of 0 female hosts, as Amber Ruffin's show was recently downgraded to a series of specials only. Unlike the fictional realm of the Barbie movie, there's never been a female president in the United States. Yes, Bill, the patriarchy is real, and we are still a long way from gender equality in the real world. Barbie is not a perfect movie, but it's a conversation, and a conversation worth having. For me, Barbie brought the unexpected pleasure of finding shared experiences in this fractured age where the world is imperfect but striving to do better. While these existential questions are refreshing in a mainstream movie, the real magic is found in how they move toward maturity, through imperfection and mistake. For some, Barbie is the ultimate girl boss. She's glamorous, she's successful, and she owns her own dream house. For others, Barbie represents an outdated female stereotype, a blonde bimbo girl in a fantasy world. Barbie tells the young girl, "I'm supposed to make you feel powerful and strong." She reminds her that Barbie's not a bimbo. In Barbie land, she's a doctor, a lawyer, a senator, and a Nobel Peace Prize winner. In fact, there was an astronaut Barbie doll in 1965, long before there was an actual woman in NASA's astronaut group, which didn't occur until 1978, which was 13 years later. An achievement celebrated in the movie when 2 Barbie astronauts high-five each other among the stars, and Earthbound stereotypical Barbie salutes them with a cheery, "Yay, space." Barbie represents how women can do anything now. For young women, it's saying they can be anything they want to be with hard work and perseverance. The movie represents female empowerment and women being fearless. As I look around the world today, I'm inspired by all of the young women who are powerful and strong and dominating their fields. Beyoncé, known as Queen Bee, has been widely recognized for her boundary-pushing artistry, vocals, and performances. Her contributions to media and to music and visual media, and her concert performances have led to become a prominent cultural figure of the 21st century. She sold an estimated 200 million records worldwide. She's one of the most decorated, best-selling artists of her time. Her accolades include 32 Grammy Awards, 26 MTV Music Awards, countless other recognitions. She is the most successful Black touring act in the history, according to Pollster, and Time magazine has included her as one of the 100 women who defined the last century. Taylor Swift is another cultural icon who sold over 200 million records globally. She's one of the best-selling musicians, the most streamed female artist on Spotify, and the only act to have 5 albums with first-week sales of over 1 million copies in the US. Her concerts are now legendary. She's won countless awards, and she's credited with bringing $208 million of additional US hotel room revenue to cities where she's toured, according to the latest research report from STR. That's on top of another $100 million in room revenue that the first 28 shows on the tour added to normal seasonal levels. The total impact on the economics of the markets that host the Eras Tour continues to be calculated, with analysts confirming the revenue bump and calling it the Swift lift. Simone Biles Owens, the American gymnast, has won 7 Olympic medals, tying her with Shannon Miller for the most Olympic medals ever won by an American gymnast. The New York Times refers to Coco Gauff now as the greatest story in sports today. Gauff is a tennis sensation at 19, much as Venus and Serena were. And she's stepped closer to her own destiny. She won a major championship at the US Open this summer, and she's ready to be a leader on the women's tennis tour. I'm inspired by each of these superstars, each one rising to the tops of their fields based upon their irrefutable talent, their work ethic, and their commitment to excellence. And they represent that, like Barbie, women can do anything now. In commercial real estate, we're striving as an industry to create equity and diversity. While we do not simply boast gender-neutral bathrooms anymore, we are in fact making great strides, but yet we still have a long way to go. Each year that we chair the WiRE conference, it is our sincere hope that we are building the bridges of mentorship and camaraderie among women in commercial real estate that will help to bring about change and bring us a little bit closer to a reality that looks more like Barbie land, where women can be astronauts, Nobel Peace Prize winners, doctors, lawyers, CEOs, and yes, maybe even one day President of the United States. Today we have an all-star lineup of panels comprised of senior women in the industry who will be speaking about finance, affordable housing, asset management, and infrastructure and construction. We have an incredible fireside chat today, lined up at 1:15 between Joanne Maneri and Sabrina Canner, two industry icons. I'm excited for us to get started, but first wanted to thank Stephanie and Marc, our hosts, for their continuing commitment to WiRE and building bridges of mentorship between the students and women in real estate. Let's get started.